Hello.
Hello.
There we go. Look at that. Daylight savings. It's actually daytime outside for once.
How'd you get it to do that?
I did this thing where I pushed my clock ahead an hour. There's it back. I don't know. I just let the phone handle that. No, it is ahead. You have a nap yet, Christian?
No, sir.
You gotta get some sleep.
That remains to be seen.
What has you so busy?
College.
Get
Yes, I'm taking a bunch of classes, but I have a group project in the game dev class. Game. And I'm also making this game. Shreks has been a phenomenal help. I really could not do it without him. But also I'm in the animation class. So I had a full animation to finish last night. And I had a 2D design project that I had to finish last night. And I had just computer architecture homework and intro to operating systems homework due as well. So,
Oh boy. Don't let this club ever be a lack of sleep. And that applies to anyone. Take care of yourself first. Has anyone seen the new Game Maker's Toolkit video?
I saw it got posted. What was it about? It was how to become a game developer?
Yeah, he actually goes into like some pretty decent detail on like contacting publishers and like connecting with other people and like the nitty gritty of it, as opposed to just like general, oh, this is how you be a designer, you make games. It's a good video. It's pretty good.
They usually are. I like his stuff.
He's like always increasing the video quality, which is impressive.
That what was that? The Commander Shepard video essay? It was like an hour long. I was like, there's no way this is going to be interesting for a full hour. And then it was good.
Mm-hmm. I believe Harper is not going to be here tonight. I wonder what Jean's up to. She might be working. We'll give people a couple more minutes to get in. Standard protocol.
Ezra, your background's throwing me off. Is that like a picture or is it your camera being weird?
I think it would be hilarious to have a picture of my background of my room like green screened in, and that's a really good idea. It's the NVIDIA broadcast thing that isn't working very well, particularly around here because the blur doesn't work right. But I'm gonna keep messing with it until it does, I guess.
You look ethereal, like a ghost.
It's just like real life, but blurrier.
Yeah.
I'm going to green screen Ezra's room in behind me.
The official club background.
On completely unrelated but slightly related note that I just remembered some of you may be interested in, I tried running Unreal Engine 4's new ray tracing implementation with VR on an RTX 3060, and it was able to run like no visual glitches at a consistent 9 frames per second. So the future is here, I guess.
3060.
Yeah, it's I was not expecting much better because VR, pretty intensive. But I was surprised to see. I think it's the first engine that supports both ray tracing and VR. Unity may have that soon, but
I think you can do it with a compute shader in the current like Unity VR thing. It's just a bad idea.
yeah, I was really I'm really interested in those two things combined because I haven't seen any games do that yet. But I'm beginning to understand why no games have done that yet. That may be like a 5000 series NVIDIA card kind of thing. But that new PSVR is looking pretty cool. Maybe I know there's like ray tracing on the PS5 to some extent.
It's a little bit past 6:05. I'm working on the website, trying to get some small changes going. Let me check what the order was. I believe we had Logan first with Project Entropy. Yeah. Are you ready, Logan? You are muted.
Forgot I was muted. I am ready. The host has disabled participant screen sharing.
It's on.
Okay. We'll go screen one. All right. Can you guys see this? All right. So this is Project Entropy, as you guys know, second month of development. So this is mainly what I've been doing this month, is trying to work out how we're going to do spells with like getting it like so the player can switch between them, how we're going to handle like making the spells and making that like scalable, since we're ideally going to have quite a few. And this went through a couple iterations and like ideas that eventually didn't pan out. But the one that we kind of eventually settled on is trying to use scriptable objects for the spells. And kind of the thing that we like about scriptable objects for the spells is how scalable it is. So like, as you can see on the side here is a picture of like one of the test spells. And it's really simple to make new ones. You just, right click, make a new spell, and you fill in these values differently. And you have an entirely new spell that behaves differently, that looks differently by putting in a different projectile into that bottom field. And it's super cool. If you haven't done much with scriptable objects, I'd encourage looking into them because they're complicated and hard to understand, but they're super cool. And another cool thing that we are going to look into doing, Ezra and I were talking about this, with how scalable this is, kind of the limiting factor becomes art, not like the programming. So we were trying to figure out a way to make the like visuals for the spells like just as scalable as the like mechanics of the spells. So we're going to be looking into trying to like scale particle effects, like add additional fields to the spell so we can like determine like the intensity of particle effects, like the patterns and like the colors and things like that. We don't know how successful we're going to be in that endeavor, but if it works, that's going to be super cool and allow us to grind out a whole bunch of spells with like super minimal effort relative to the amount of gain we're getting. So that's mostly what I've been doing. Caleb isn't here, I don't think, but he's been doing the temperature/weather system. And this also went through a couple iterations, but the one we're going with is basically just taking some random number generation and based off of the number it generates, determine whether the temperature holds constant as it is, starts to increase, or starts to decrease. And there's a really small chance that it will trigger a weather event. Obviously, the temperature is like in a range. It'll never get too high, though, kind of emphasizing the whole like dying sun stuff. It's always cold unless you're like near fire or some other kind of source of heat. But it can drop very low, especially during weather events. And the kind of the purpose of the system, the difference between the current temperature of like the world and the player's body temperature is how we're going to calculate how quickly the player gains or loses heat. And weather events, we're thinking of being things like rain or snow on the tame end, and that'll just give you like some particle effects on the screen, and it might make your character like a little bit colder. And then on the high end, things like blizzards or hail that might like drop the temperature to like super low levels that you have to like take precaution to avoid, or like hail where it'll like just hurt you because it's like raining sharp rocks basically. So that is pretty cool. We got Daniel's music, so we'll just listen to that for the next 3 minutes. Let me know if you guys can hear this. I think I clicked the right button the first time, but can you hear this? No? Okay. Let me see. What button do I have to press to get you guys to hear it?
At the bottom of the screen share box.
Oh, share sound.
There you go.
Okay. I'm dumb. There we go. Didn't mean to click that. All right, so yeah, as you can see, that was the last bit of that, like the last half was the addition to the village theme. And this is, I can't remember if this is added to the field music or new field music entirely.
Well, basically how it works, it's the same field music, updated a little bit, but whenever an enemy is encountered on the field that isn't like a boss enemy or like a big encounter, some stems with the battle theme will fade in, so that's like a smooth transition. So this is what you'd be hearing.
All right.
I don't think that's the battle version. The battle version is meant to have drums in it, but if that's not on the PowerPoint, I will send it over to the Discord afterwards.
All right, yeah. And then this was the battle theme for like small combat encounters, and the one we showed last time is what we're going to be using for like boss fights, right, Daniel?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, and that's the music update, except the battle bit of field music, which, like Daniel said, he'll send in the Discord.
I misunderstood. I thought you were playing the battle version first. That is how it's supposed to sound.
All right, then there we go. We got it right. Didn't mess it up. So enemy progress. Brandon did this stuff. We have a stationary turret enemy, which currently, as you'll see in the next slide, is the monkey from Bloons Tower Defense, but that is not its final design. In the future, it'll be like a ruined remnant of like an ancient security system. And we have stuff for the anglerfish enemy / mimic. It kind of became more like a mimic over the course of the development. It takes the form of a campfire to lure in players who need warmth. And when the player gets close, the creature opens an eye. And when the eye is open, it becomes vulnerable to damage. And after a period of time, it explodes in like a ring of fire. We've got the little Bloons Tower Defense monkey doing his thing. And Ezra, you can start talking if you want. This is the mimic fire art.
Yeah, so this pretty much the same process we were using for the other sprites. The original iteration, it was a lot more subtle in the transition, and so I kind of changed it to have more of a purple glow. The fire like prefab in Unity actually has a lighting component to it, so the lighting should in due time actually update and glow, make the objects in the scene glow a little bit purple as the eye changes color too. And if you hit the next slide button, whatever makes the thing pop up, you'll see we have a quick, I'm still kind of tweaking it, but we have the kind of explosion attack animation. So if the player just thinks this is a campfire and they're going towards it for warmth, then they're going to get hit real quick if they're not paying attention. So the idea is they would have enough time once they see the color turn that they could run away or quickly attempt to kill the enemy. And at that point, it would just be like an extinguished fire. But this is still kind of in progress. You can see the direction that we're going with it here. And you can go to the next slide to see the changes we've made to the player sprite. So we have an idle animation. I think my normals are flipped. So we're going to mess with that more because as you can see with the player running around on the example on the right, the lighting kind of works for some of the directions the player runs in, but it's a little bit off for others. So I'm going to go review how normal maps work between Unity and Unreal and see if we can get that fixed. But we do have an idle animation. I think we're at somewhere like 700 individual images already for this project. So we're getting there.
Yeah, and that is actually the last slide. So that's what we have for this report. Does anybody have any questions?
Are you using a particle system for that fire?
Nah, that is I'm using a Blender fire simulation and baking it down to a sprite sheet, just like with the player character.
I was gonna say, it looks like it loops pretty well.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought I was going to have to do more tweaking individually, but it actually seems to loop all right thus far. That being said, I think for the spells, we talked about this briefly. Christian, I may need you to teach me the particle thing that you posted in the chat with the fire particles you did in Unity, because that looked like a pretty good starting point. I think for the player spells, we're going to need to move away from the pre-baked sprite sheet format because it's just not flexible enough for all the variants and spells that we're going to need.
Yeah, I was actually about to just offer my resources that I used did that. It's very, very modifiable. What render pipeline are you guys using? Do you know?
We're using URP.
Okay, yeah, then you're great. So you can do either the like normal particle system or you can do the GPU accelerated ones. I don't think you'll need to. Are you guys using Pixel Perfect camera?
Yes, indeed.
And yeah, you're all set pretty much.
That's good. Yeah, the technique of baking down the sprites, I think it looks pretty decent, and I think it works pretty well for players and for enemies. But for like dynamic in-game elements, it's just not very flexible, you know. So especially if the player is going to be spawning mini particles on the screen, I think it makes sense to kind of move away from that. Unity gets kind of bogged down if you try to update too many like flipbook sprite animations at once. So.
How do you plan on implementing the RNG with the temperature?
Yeah, so the exact numbers we're not settled on because we're going to play test it. But basically, Caleb showed me his script like a couple days ago, and if I can remember exactly what it was like basically there will be like a certain range of numbers, and it'll be like if it's like super low, like 1 or 2, then it triggers a weather effect. And that just sends it to a different part of the script, and it will generate another random number to determine what the weather effect is. And from there, it'll like the weather effects will probably like set the temperature to something, and it'll like drop or rise rapidly, and then trigger like particle effects and other things happening. And as far as the like standard, just like deviation of temperatures, there's just going to be like a range. So we're going to be like, max temperature is, I don't know, like 10 degrees, and it can drop to a minimum of like -30 degrees or something. And it'll just be like, if it's this range of random numbers, then the temperature drops for this period of time. If it's this range, it stays. And if it is this range, it goes up for a period of time. But yeah, that's the gist of how I think he was implementing it. I might be missing like little details, but that's what I remember.
Do you have any idea how you're going to like convey this information to the player?
Yeah, we're going to like, basically it's going to be like, I'm trying to, the best way to put it.
I'm imagining like a little frost ring developing around the camera, like the colder it gets.
Oh, you're talking about like the visual.
Yeah, how
like
the player gets
okay.
that feedback.
Yeah, I think we were kind of debating between 2 options. Number 1 is basically like have temperature be like, so you'll have like a health bar and like a stamina bar, and the other option was you'll have like a stamina bar that's like a thermometer. So there was that option, or some kind of like visual indicator. We haven't really decided. We're leaning a little bit more towards the like bar, because not only is it like a thing that you have to manage and is like dangerous to you, it's also a spell casting resource. So I think it's kind of important that the player knows like kind of exactly where they're at, not like a general estimate based off of what their player looks like. So yeah, we're probably going to go with like the little thermometer thing, like temperature bar.
Sounds cool. Are there any other questions? Oh, I have one last question. Do you feel like you're on the right track to have like a small demo by the end of the semester?
Yes, especially if we can get all the like kind of modular stuff with the spells going, we should be good. Next meeting is kind of that we're going to have next Sunday is our next meeting. And that whole meeting is basically going to be like, what do we absolutely need to get done for this demo? You know, we're going to be debating like whether we want it to be like just like an open world thing. You can go around and fight things, or if we want to make a mini dungeon. We're going to decide that on Sunday. And we think we'll have some kind of demo to show off. I think we're on track for that.
It's looking awesome.
Thank you.
Christian, you ready?
Yeah, real quick though, is there a plan to get a cast shadow on the player character?
Does anyone know how to make that actually update with the run animations? Because that was the snag I ran into and I gave up really quick.
So you have him baked to sprite sheets, yeah?
Kind of, sort of. If by sprite sheets you mean a series of hundreds of JPEG images, yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Not to bog down the meeting, but how hypothetically, if it was a sprite sheet, would you go about having an updated like shadow casting for it?
Can I give a suggestion?
Go ahead.
I don't know how hard this would be, but you can take this would essentially just be a shader where you take the like alpha of each frame in that sprite. You'd make it like whatever shade you want for the shadow. And then you'd skew that based on where the light positions are within the scene.
That sounds pretty doable.
That's just like the first thing that came to mind. So I can't promise that it'll actually be feasible.
Yeah, I was curious about because we already have, like the alpha data is already there. With when I was trying to use the built-in elements, I found it very difficult to like easily. It was very easy if like the player was like a cube or something. Like you can see in the little looping GIF, the cube cast shadows. That was not hard to do. But with like the arms and stuff for the player, you would have issues where it would like kind of like clip through and there should be a shadow, but there wasn't and stuff like that. So I think that your shader-based approach may be a lot easier.
All right, is that it?
I think that's it.
Suppose that means I'm up. Let's see. I don't have sound, so it won't be a problem. Yeah, I got a pretty short one for you guys this time. Progress. All hail Rice. Again, he got the golf mechanics hooked up and working. You can hit the ball at varying powers. He's got a whole system set up. It's just a placeholder for now, but And then I discovered I'm really bad at golf while I was testing this out. But yeah, it's all hooked up. It works. There's UI work to be done, but it functions. The animations also need to be hooked up, and that's on me. It's my job. I lost my. Oh, there it is. And we fixed the thing with the head not spawning the ball projectile game object, I guess, correctly. Big shouts out to Rice on that as well. I checked, he fixed, there was a client server. If the Unity editor was running the host, it behaved differently than if the built client was running the host. And he found a way to resolve that. I actually haven't gotten to pick that apart and see how he did that yet, but I was very appreciative because it was driving me mad. What's next? I got to finish the combat system. This has been my task in the past month, and I just haven't been able to finish it. It's more complicated than I anticipated, especially when everything is driven by 3D animations and I'm pulling resources in different packs and different Mixamo pages. And then there's, decisions of whether I want to do a timer-based approach or I want to do animation events. If I use Mixamo, then that kind of throws animation events out the window because they're read-only unless I get in and crack them. And then I don't know how terms of service that becomes a problem with. The lobby system is the next big, this is now a functioning game thing that needs to go in. Currently, we're using Mirror's built-in kind of instance generator, which is fine. It works. It allows us to rapidly prototype, test, and play the game. But eventually you are going to want a main menu, and you're going to want to say, I want to type in this IP, which is the current method that you use to connect to servers. It can probably be improved. I'd like to do a server browser, but I'm not sure how much time for that kind of polish we're going to have. But that's almost a stretch goal. The game's got to work first. I want to polish the visuals. That's another part of the time sink has been me trying to figure out. I'm not the most talented 3D modeler in the world. So especially when it comes to edge flow for low poly stuff, I was talking to one of my art professors about rectifying that, but it's a work in progress. And then I got bugs to fix. Every time I write a new piece of code, I break something. It's just the nature of the beast with Mirror. Rice, you got anything to add?
No, I think that's it.
All right, cool. Yeah, if anybody has questions,
How did you fix the synchronization problem, Rice?
I think I made sure that the ball was always belonged to the server, and then use commands to control the ball.
Did you make that human model, Christian?
Yeah, I did. I threw it together.
I think he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's been what we've been using. He's a little Sackboyish. I probably should have shaded him smooth before I exported him. I expected him to be more of a placeholder than he's turned out to be. I'm struggling to get anything better than that, which has been a stress point. But hey, maybe it works to its advantage.
I like how it has visible shoulder dimples, whatever you call them. Is that little hill there with the dimple in it supposed to be what you plan for the game hole to be? The golf hole?
Yeah, for now that is a hole. The script behaviors that happen when the ball goes in the hole happen there.
Nice big golf goal.
It is, and you would not believe how many times I missed it when I was trying to get this footage.
Same question for you. Do you feel prepared to have a demo? It sounds like you are. You talked about it.
I feel confident. The combat system is complicated, and it's kind of getting me to tear my hair out, but I feel good. I think I'll be able to get it together, and then the rest is just polish after that. Honestly, this is nearly the full game once the combat system is in and the animations are hooked up for the golf aspect of it.
We gotta have a group play test.
Oh, absolutely.
After that final meeting.
I intend to host a tournament.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be fun. I feel like this is the first serious multiplayer game we've gotten. It's impressive.
I do not begrudge anyone for not trying. It is a headache and a half.
Are there any other questions? The last project, which is Project Hephaestus, unfortunately, I think they will not be continuing for this semester. Kimberly got a little bit busy with other stuff going on. I don't see any project members in the meeting right now. If you are on that project, you're welcome to speak up. But I believe that's as much as I know. Yeah. The College Game Jam starts next week. Again, check out the workshops in that. Those are awesome. And participate if you got the time. It's a very big opportunity to get some decent feedback and learn a lot about development.
Yeah, hey, is anybody in here interested in doing that? I'm kind of looking for a team.
I might.
What
I'm
day
not
is
too
it
sure
on?
yet.
Do you have a date for that?
It's a week long, and it's, let me pull it up.
It starts exactly, I think, 1 week from now.
Yeah, yeah, 1 week at 12 p.m.
Yeah, I'm also a
Central
mite on that. I'll have to look into what I have to do that week.
Do we have
school-wise.
results for the last game jam yet?
Oh, yes, I am so sorry.
Wait on those.
I think I can do the one next week though, for sure.
Let me double check that. But the scores are in. You should be able to view them.
Are they just on itch?
Yeah, my bad if they were already on itch. I hadn't checked in a while.
Results. Yes. Someone that is not in the club got second. And I'm not gonna get a prize or anything. So I believe the prize goes to Sisyphus, who got third.
What? I protest. Where are the results?
Yeah.
Good brain, Christian. That's crazy. I did not expect that.
I gotta double check to make sure all the scores are in. But I believe it was 3 judges, and I'm pretty sure I heard back from all of them. If you're missing some feedback, let me know, because there should be feedback for every single one.
Yeah, actually,
Congratulations.
it looks like it's a 3-way tie between Sisyphus, I Want to Get Fired, and Traverse.
Really?
Yeah. With 2 ratings for each. Or, well, no.
2 ratings.
1 rating, yeah.
1 rating. What?
Yeah, so Muris has 2 ratings. It looks like all the TigerDev games have 2 ratings.
Still trying to figure out the itch rating. I don't think I'll use it on the next jam just because it was a little troublesome to get the judges in there. It seems like one of them had trouble getting their ratings in as well. I guess we can have 2 winners. Why not? Sisyphus and Traverse. Although if that changes with the third judge, I will let you guys know. But you guys are still getting prizes. Do you know what you want?
Hey, can I get a shirt?
Heck yeah. What's your size?
Medium usually.
And if you have a emoji you want to add to the Discord, let me know. But that is it for the meeting. Thank you guys for coming.
Hey, congratulations to Muris.
All right. Bye-bye.